Have you ever heard about UNDRIP or Indigenous rights and you were wondering what it all means? Well, this video will help you out. UNDRIP stands for the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which was put together by Indigenous people and the United Nations. A declaration is an international document that can be used to support your cause at an international level. This Declaration on Indigenous People has been signed by all members of the United Nations, even the US, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, all who originally voted against it. The United States was last to come on board in December of 2010. President Obama announced that the United States will be lending its support to UNDRIP. However, the official U.S. statement of support for the declaration is qualified. The State Department released the official U.S. position statement. It made it very clear that the U.S. regarded UNDRIP's concepts of self-determination to be limited to its existing laws and policies, and that it is for federally recognized tribes only, but limits their power of self-governance. This declaration also recognizes Aboriginal people as a distinct race of people that have the right to self-determination. Self-determination means for you to be able to choose how you want to be governed. This is why you may think your vote counts, and also choose how you want to practice your cultural traditions and beliefs. This declaration simply sets the standards between governments and Aboriginal people around the world. Aboriginal people have their own traditional law, which have governed them since the time of memorial, which also trumps the government law. I once heard an Aborigine say, "Our law is thousands of years old. They come and give us laws that's hundreds of years old." You also have the right to protect your traditional knowledge, the right to control your own water, land, and seed. I know what you're thinking. What seed? Well, pretty much everything you buy at the grocery store are generational seeds. They are hundreds, maybe even thousands of years old. Plants grow, drop seeds, then those seeds are then replanted. Understand? Your seeds. But you also have the right to control any other resource of your land. You have the right to live by your traditional methods and the right to use your own land. In particular, this declaration gives Aboriginal people the right to free prior conformed consent, which means that governments and companies need Indigenous people's permission to use their resources and land. Makes it really clear to see why Comcast needed to get Al Sharpton, the NAACP, the Congressional Black Caucus, and many more black organizations to sign on for their deal. It was just simply allowing them to speak for us all and give Comcast permission to use the land and resources. A bunch of photo ops for World News.
What they do is they make token donations to people like Al Sharpton, the NAACP, the Urban League, and after taking those donations, they negotiated a fraudulent MOU that says this is okay for black people to live by. What America needs to understand is that Al Sharpton does not speak for me. Al Sharpton does not speak for black people.
This declaration also states that Aboriginal people are not to be forcibly removed from their land, although it seems like we're not forcibly removed. And it seems like we understand gentrification. Seems to me like they're both the same, only one you are being psychologically tricked and oppressed until you leave. Understand this. These rights don't apply to you unless you understand who you are. If you believe you someone else, that's just your loss. No one's gonna hold your hand. Unfortunately, as with everything else, this declaration only mentions Indigenous people, which is a very broad statement. It can be applied to anyone, same as minority. But know this, Aboriginal people are always classified as First Nations, and we are always classified as First Indigenous. Happy holidays, fam. This is my present to you, world. We's know now. Happy holidays. And I know they're gonna have somebody sitting there saying, this is the white man's holiday. This ain't about white people, idiot. But I tell you this, the sun sets at its lowest point in the sky on December 22nd. Well, it stayed there for 3 days. On the third day, the sun rises. A grand rising. The grand rising of the American Indians. These are our holidays, fam. Never forget that. They just hijacked them with their names. See, we have 4 days a week, 7 weeks in a month, 13 months in a year. There's your favorite number, 13. But I'm gonna leave y'all to think about that one. Happy holidays, fam.